Hello and welcome to the ID Talk podcast. My name is Peter Counter and I am the editor-in-chief of FindBiometrics, which is back from Las Vegas, where we reported live last week on ISC West. Nearly 20,000 security and public safety industry professionals were in attendance at this year's ISC West, and our Director of Digital Media and Events, Doug OGorden, navigated the crowds to report on the substantial biometrics and identity presence at the show. Now that we're back, he is still going, catching up post-show with biometrics experts to reflect on the trends and topics that characterize the world's premier security conference. On this episode of ID Talk, OGorden catches up with Tony Yuan, co-founder of SeizeFace. They discuss the return to form for ISC West after 2 years of pandemic safety measures before getting into the unique benefits of SeizeFace's FaceGate technology, which boasts low cost and high levels of accessibility. They touch on important privacy aspects too, and conclude with a preview of what's next for the Silicon Valley Biometrics company. It's a fascinating conversation about increasingly important aspects of AI, identity, and computer vision, so let's get straight to it. Here is FindBiometrics' Doug OGorden in conversation with SeizeFace's Tony Yuan, back from ISC West 2022.
Hi, FindBiometrics listeners. Doug OGorden here. I'm with Tony Yuan. He's co-founder of SeizeFace, and we're doing a post-ISC West interview. Tony, tell us a little bit about your company and what you do at SeizeFace.
SeizeFace is a facial recognition company. We focus on edge computing-based facial recognition. Usually 1:10 facial recognition gets done on the cloud. One of the examples is Amazon's AWS. So we think we can get it done in a better way. We for the past 6 years, we managed to port this heavy-duty algorithm to most Android phones. Now we can screen up to 500,000 people on the phone within a second and return the results. So that's one of the kind in this industry.
Nice. You were at ISC West. What were some of the highlights at the show last week?
One of the highlights is facial recognition is coming back. I think I also attended last July, the ISC West last July, or very few attendance. And for this time, I think 80% of normal traffic is coming back. So I think there's no turning back for facial recognition. People from all industry verticals express the interest in facial recognition. It includes the education, law enforcement, and all this video management system companies like Milestone, Motorola, Briefcam. And with the mask ban lifted, people are expressed more interest in facial recognition in access control and retail and other areas.
Awesome. Yeah, we're seeing that too. Banking is definitely there, and I think the holy grail of this technology will be the security market that enters you into every business possible. How do you feel about the increased representation of biometrics and identity technologies at the show? I mean, you saw a large increase in exhibitors.
Yes. The interesting thing is I have two neighbors. One is from VMS system from Missouri, right across the aisle. And one on our diagonal side is Swiss facial recognition companies. So you can see this concentration of biometrics. So we saw a lot of interested group in this company, in this show. The major concern are the performance and cost.
Mhm.
So, mhm.
That's a good segue into the next question. Your FaceGate solution stands out in the face biometrics landscape thanks to its emphasis on accessibility. It's low cost and operates on most Android devices. As strong identity and authentication technologies become more integral for everyday life, why is it important to focus on accessibility, and how have you found your customers are responding to it?
I think the major hurdle to adopt facial recognition is the cost. So one versus one facial recognition, if you have to get it done on the cloud, you have to transmit the data to the cloud and process on the cloud computing and return the results. That results in huge delay. And the video data is if you want to transmit the video data across the internet, the quality of service is not guaranteed. So if we can get it done on the edge devices, that we can not only lower the cost by a great deal, we can also increase the quality of service. So let's think about it. Without any infrastructure change, we can just use a 3-year-old legacy Android phones. We can transform it into a facial recognition station. It can recognize up to 500,000 people on this device. That's a huge cost reduction. So I think through that way, we can lower the bar drastically for people to adopt this technology.
Neat. Yeah, this is kind of a part of the last question is how do you find the balance between the low cost, accessibility, and high performance in the biometric space, in which presentation attacks are becoming more of a threat? How do you address those presentation attacks?
Actually, SeizeFace's core competence is we can lower the cost of facial recognition technology without compromising the performance. We managed to get it done on the local devices without going to the cloud, but achieving the same comparable performance with the cloud computing. So I'll give you an example. So cloud computing, for AWS service to screen a 9-hour video, it costs us $65. But for us, it's just the battery charge on the phone. So without any surcharges. This is a huge improvement in accessibility. And that's our major advantages. We don't sacrifice the performance for low cost.
Mm-hmm. As an artificial intelligence company focusing on facial recognition, you're operating in a controversial segment of the identity space. What does SeizeFace do to protect user privacy and forward the ethical use of this powerful technology?
Firstly, we don't transmit the data to the cloud. That reduces the risk of information leak. And secondly, all the images are encrypted. We don't do any, we don't screen faces on anonymous basis. So only with the user's consent do I use this technology. So that can drastically reduce the privacy concerns on these technologies.
So it is an opt-in technology?
Yes.
Okay. And then, great. That was my last question, but what can we expect from SeizeFace in 2022? What are you doing in the next 6 to 9 months before the end of the year?
For this next 6 months to 1 year time, I'm gonna improve our technology even more and push it to even lower end devices. And in the meantime, we are looking to gaining looking to gain more market shares and to find more interested customers in all verticals.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm glad you had a good ISC West, and I'm glad we could catch up post-ISC West. And have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
And so concludes our interview with Tony Yuan, co-founder of SeizeFace. To learn more about the topics discussed in this episode, visit SeizeFace.com. And for more identity and biometrics industry coverage from ISC West 2022, stay posted to FindBiometrics.com. I would like to thank Tony for joining us on the podcast today, and thank you to Doug OGorden for conducting the interview. Our podcast theme music is by Logomrad. I have been your host, Peter Counter. Thank you for listening to the ID Talk Podcast.